Yo, what's good YouTube? It's boardzy, and this is going to be a review of the Zaunkoenig M2K, which is the lightest mouse that you can actually buy. It's actually the only mouse lighter than it is the M1K, made by the same company, but you can see this does not feature a scroll wheel, so they were able to implement the scroll wheel and only increase the weight by 1 gram. I weighed it before recording, and this mouse only weighs 24 grams. My M1K weighed 22, so maybe it's a 2 gram increase. But regardless, it is insane. This mouse has a wheel, and before trying to navigate just basic internet stuff without a scroll wheel, it's impossible. So I'm really happy that they were able to implement this. There's still no side buttons, and they are really opposed to side buttons, so I don't know if we'll see those. And I do want to mention, I did buy this with my own money. Also, the cost. I knew I was forgetting something. $350, free worldwide shipping. I think it's like 300 euros. So it's a bit out of the budget of many mouse consumers, but it's just a really unique product. So yeah, I'll start the review. God, I feel like I talked forever without actually talking about the mouse. So in 2021, we've seen the mouse market basically be dominated by these non-plastic mice. They are pushing the boundaries. The M2K is made out of carbon fiber. It is a unibody design. This is all one piece. Normally, mice have a specific piece for the base. No longer the case. Holy shit, I'm rhyming like less than 2 minutes into the review. This is going to be incredible. So this is a fingertip grip only mouse. I've tried claw gripping it. You can get it in your palm, but this is not an ideal grip by any means. With fingertip, it actually leads towards aggressive fingertip grips. One of the reasons for that is because the button height is around a millimeter lower than it used to be on the M1K. So that was something that I was used to, and when I started using the M2K, something felt off, and I just realized, when I brought my M1K out to compare, that the button height is lower and the mouse is overall shorter. So it forces you into a more aggressive grip. It gave me a bit less stability, but some people are super red-pilled on the lower button height being better. The reason for the M2K being shorter is because it has the unibody design and no longer has this 3D printed bottom plate. So yeah, that explains that. The mouse itself, do I feel like it's a $350 product? In some aspects, yes. This is a handmade, these mice are assembled by 2 people, I'm pretty sure, which fucking is just insane. And each mouse is quality checked, so there is going to be the premium on that. It also has driverless 8K hertz polling rate. The reason I'm not freaking out about that is because 4K hertz and 8K hertz just don't work for me on my PC, and I'm sure some people, if you have a cracked out OS, I have cringe OS, an unmodified Windows 10. I'm sure if I had something cooler, maybe I would be able to experience 8K, but I still could run 2K hertz on everything, and it just feels better when you're snapping. Well, it's not snapping your wrist, but when you yeah, I guess when you snap your wrist, you can just feel a feeling of instantaneousness that just isn't present on other mice, even something like the Starlight 12, which I just stand by. I feel like this mouse being lighter and having a even 2K hertz polling rate, there's the feeling there. Do I overall prefer this over the Starlight? I'll tell you right now, no, I don't. One of the big reasons for that actually is this fucking rubber cable. You see, actually, I don't know how well you can see, but I'm using a karambit as the bungee. Mouse bungees make this cable feel worse because they just, no matter how you move it, you can feel the cable weighing down. So what I've done is I've just given myself enough slack, just put something on top of it, and I use it. Yeah, it's a pretty big drawback of the mouse being able to feel the cable, especially whenever you move it up vertically. It doesn't hinder my aim, but when the mouse is this light and you can feel the cable causing more weight than the mouse, it's fucked. And you can't paracord it either. This is your final cable solution. If you own the M2K, I'm pretty sure you hate me, but let me know what you do with your cable. Maybe you tape it? I don't know. When I just swing the mouse like this, I can feel the resistance of the cable and the cable swinging more than I can feel the weight of the mouse itself. So I'm not gonna sugarcoat the cable. It seemed like it was somehow less of a problem when I used the M1K, which doesn't really make much sense to me. Seems like the exact same cable, same flexibility. But yeah, another thing to talk about on the M2K, I guess, would be the main buttons. I'll get to the scroll wheel next. These use Japanese Omrons. It's the same switches as they used last time, and you can kind of control the weight of the switch. It's weird, but if you click up towards the top, which is where I click, it's super fucking light. But if you go lower, it's actually a bit heavier and more tactile. And if you go all the way to the bottom, which I doubt anybody would do, it's like a super heavy click. So I'll do a full sound test. Do I have RTX voice on? Amazing. Want to hear the sound of carbon fiber? Okay, like the video if you understood that meme. But what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the main clicks. I don't have any problems with them. There is some post-travel, but I've been like fucking pressing down, like putting tons of pressure when using this mouse, and it doesn't cause any problems. So yes, the post-travel's there, but if anything, it just feels better than most mice when I put like tons of pressure. Since the mouse is so light, I was scared that like if I put too much pressure one way or another, it would like kind of make the mouse off balance, but that's not the case. These feet they have do a good job of, I mean, I guess they're more than just the feet, but the mouse does a good job of staying stable, and it is easy to control. It kind of feels like you're using a pencil. It is obviously wider than most pencils that people would use, but it is just an analogy. Compared to something like the Starlight, I just want to do like a shape comparison. You can see it's nowhere near as long, nowhere near as tall, but it is around the same width. Nobody is doing shape comparisons on a level similar to mine. And the Starlight 12 is already a super small mouse, so the M2K is just, it's tiny. Even compared to Zaunkoenig's old mouse, it's tiny. And that is something that, for me, I'm just not gonna main. I can't, like, get, in theory, like, with fingertip grip, you would pick this up and just be more precise, you would aim better. That's what their website says, and, like, it's what you would believe. But for me, it's just not the case. If you can get the higher polling rates to work, I feel like that's something you could get really addicted to. Like, even when I just go back to the M1K, because that was a direct comparison I was making, like in tracking scenarios, I could feel like I'm aiming worse, but I would just get it like a better score with the M2K. And I will say that I mainly played Kovacs because due to not having side buttons, I cannot pursue my true passion of Fortnite. I was like, oh, I can try Warzone, maybe 8K hertz will work, and that game was 200 gigabytes. So I don't know. For me personally, the stars just did not align. Oh, holy shit, the stars did not align in the same way it did with the final mouse. These feet, the M1K was in collaboration with Hyperglide, but these feet are in collaboration with Corpheads. The reason I can tell is because there's some like dust gathering around the adhesive. These Hyperglide dots were some of the fastest and like lowest friction mouse feet I had ever felt, and then these are Corpheads, so it's a bit more controlled. The mouse, like when I'm gliding it around, it does feel a bit heavier and less hollow than the M1K did, and I'm pretty sure a reason for that is just the distribution being different. It's clearly very front heavy. There's not much going on towards the back, and that's honestly the difference for me, accompanied with the cable. Like, yes, the number of the weight is lower, the number of the polling rate is higher, but in terms of actual feeling and just overall enjoyment, I'm a bigger fan of the Starlight 12. I would say even aim better with the Superlight when I claw grip, and I am a big fan of fingertip. I was getting like some good scores with this mouse, but it's just that insane price point, and to still have things that I consider as flaws. I have not talked about the scroll wheel yet, and it is really cool. Come on, camera, don't be a fucking loser. It is very thin, as you can see. It's ceramic coated. That is it's a really good buzzword, and it feels like a durable, rigid scroll wheel. The click is nice, satisfying. It's not too heavy. And they implemented the wheel, and they did it right. I will give them credit for that. The M1K not having a wheel, can't stress it enough, it sucked. But this, I can use it for general browsing. I doubt I will use it very much. And not having side buttons is sort of annoying for not going backwards and forwards. But that's a bit easier than like using the mouse to scroll, in my opinion. But that's just general convenience stuff. The feet are really good. I don't know if I actually mentioned the feet themselves. They're at these corners, you can see. It's hard to do like a proper glide test because of the cable, but trust me, moving this mouse around, you have a lot of control. I still recommend using a control pad with mice as light as these that just move around so easily. There's not as much resistance, so you just want to have a pad assisting you. The sensor is still an optimized 3360, and I said before that the input does feel better. If you want to change the polling rate, it's actually pretty easy. You can go to like Zaunkoenig.com/I, and that will explain it for you. You're not going to waste time on that. But it can't do like true 8K hertz a lot of the time because PixArt won't unlock the sensor's frame rate. That's at least how I interpret it. If I'm wrong, I don't really care. Nobody cares about that. But yeah, they don't have the same like 8K hertz consistency as Razer does. But again, 8K hertz was really a non-factor for me. Overall, $350 for this mouse. Obviously it's not like worth it in considering like the value of the mouse. But if you're sick, you probably bought it already. Like, is anybody gonna be like driven one way or another? I don't even know. I feel like this mouse is so niche to like schizo fingertip users that like you probably already have it and you can justify that insane price tag. But you can get like a scalped Starlight for that amount. That's kind of insane. The build quality and really the quality in every aspect is incredible. You can like see the PCB, you can like see the entire unibody design, and it is cool. Carbon fiber, a very interesting material that you won't see mice mass produced with, I guarantee that. I got it sandblasted. They just sent it like this. I don't know if you have to request it, but it is like a chalky coating that is amazing with sweat and very easy to consistently grip. It does come with this note that they signed, and a dummy PCB. You can read that if you'd like. Pause the video. My box is very dusty, but the mouse comes presented. You could imagine the presentation. It's pretty nice. But overall, I still don't think the mouse is worth buying. I'm not going to give it the seal of approval. I honestly don't know what it would take. Maybe it would probably be a new shape. I just cannot get down with this in this. God, that sounds so cringe. But I just cannot enjoy the shape in the same way that I can full mice. I think that's like the exact same thing I said when I reviewed the M1K, which I think actually had a better shape because it was a bit taller in a retrospect. But whatever. Also, you say it's the same shape, but it's actually a millimeter shorter. I would personally like to see that distinction. But that's all. Leave a like and sub if you enjoyed long ass review.